Okay, we are live. I'm gonna test the mics.
Is there an on-off button for this thing?
What? Yes.
There is? Oh, I see it, thank you. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. You are...
Camera shot should be up. Mic check. Mic check number 1. Check number 1. Mic 1. Mic number 2. Check, check, mic check. Number 2 mic. Mic. You know what day it is? Well, it's not hump day, but it's Monday. Check, check. Super mic. Why is it so low? Super mic. Let's turn it down. That's strange. Super mic 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have to adjust the super mic. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. This is President mic, mic number 4. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Mic number 5. Mic number 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic number 6. 1, 6. Mic number 6. Okay. Stop scratching the microphone. 1, 2, 3. Please let me know if you could hear each mic that I'm speaking into. Thank you.
Is this thing on? This is why you love me so much. Oh.
You hit it off. Oh, actually, it's not on. It's like probably going to go on. It's going to be loud.
Okay. Bueller, still not working. Whoa. Hello, hello.
Check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
Could you?
Hi, how are you? Happy New Year.
Good, Happy New Year. Hey, Mark, how's
1,
it
2,
going?
3. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Check, check. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but it's not good. Check, check. Not compared to the others. I might change this mic because it's not sounding very good. Okay, Robin, I'm gonna go through this one more time. If you could help me out here. Mic number 6. Mic number 5. Mic number 4.
It doesn't even matter.
Switched out mics. This is now mic number 1, but this is super mic. Sounds much better. This is mic number 2. And lastly, mic number 3, which clearly is malfunction. Clearly malfunction, needs input. One, two, three, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. Yeah, something's up with this. Maybe I'll try to turn it up. If I do hear something.
I only have 2 if you guys want to fight over it. Where are you in the middle school? We're not in the middle school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Max, for releasing Natalie, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, but you know what, I gotta go this year, she's gonna come stay, she's coming to work like that day for a while. So she's gonna be back in.
Turned up, whoa, there we go. Turned up mic number 3. Turned up mic number 3, so I think we're back in business with it. Again, mic number 3. Turn the volume up on the board. That must have helped. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna try the podium mic
I
next.
don't know, I just go exit.
He's my former student.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a great kid. Mr. Bauer. Yeah.
And then just turn the volume down just in case on the way down.
I don't know if you probably can't see me, but podium mic, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, podium mic.
Bueller?
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
You, flying over tonight?
Yeah, no.
Happy New Year. What's that? Happy New Year. So you're here for government? Oh my gosh, the wind chill is -2 right now. You said it's supposed to get colder tonight.
Okay, Robin, I've checked all the mics. I think we're okay now. I'm going to mute the sound right now, keep the shot up. Let me know when you can't hear sound anymore.
And it's just today, really?
Please.
If you have to be meeting, you either pause it and sign everybody's papers so you can go and get credit. Or if the meeting ends, make sure you get down here so we can sign your papers. Either myself or one of the board members. It'll be, it won't be. Okay?
Okay, Mr. Brooker, need to. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for getting back there.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, no,
It's going to
there's like
begin
they're missing out, like I
tonight
said,
with the
seeing
Pledge of
time
Allegiance.
before parents get up and walk for them, and they get the, and they miss it. It's just don't touch it before it's part of it.
And we have a pledge leader, Emily Goff.
Good evening, board. I have Emily Goss with me. She's going to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Emily, up for a picture? Want a photo with the board? Thank you,
With us this evening, we have Glenn Bobak, trustee, Jay Grover, trustee, Nicole Novak, trustee, Jude Kuhn, district clerk, Dr. Brian Graham, superintendent, Ashley Dreyer, president, Sue Marston, vice president, Joy Lamarca, trustee, Danielle Bruno, trustee, Mike Loria, assistant superintendent for curriculum, staff development, human resources, and what else? There's three. Curriculum, staff development, and human resources. Cheryl Cardone, assistant superintendent for pupil personnel services, and Dr. Ruby Harris, assistant superintendent for business and finance. With that, if I could have a motion, please, to approve the agenda for January 10th, 2022, please.
All motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0. And if I could have a motion to approve the minutes from December 13th, please, 2021?
I'll motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0. That brings us to our student ambassadors. With us again, we have Emily Goss to talk about things at the middle school.
Hello, my name is Emily Goss. I'm the treasurer of UCMS's Student Council. This month we plan to school cover Spirit Day on Friday, January 28th. We also worked on planning a teacher appreciation lunch from chefs. We began to talk about planning other events for the future, and we are trying to see if we can make our Valentine's volleyball tournament work this year.
Great, thank you. Okay, and from the high school, we have Riley Weber.
Hello, my name is Riley Weber. I just want to say congratulations to the JV Vikings basketball team on a dominating win to start off the new year over Niagara Falls by a final score of 43-17. Grand Island Connect Life Club is sponsoring a blood drive on Wednesday, January 19th. Time slots go from 7:45 a.m. all the way to 1:15 p.m. And we just want to say congrats to our December Viking Values Student of the Month, and there will be more to come for next month. The New York State Education Department canceled January Regents exams. Our district will be shifting January 25th through 28th to regular instructional days. All midterms will be held during regular class time from January 18th to 28th. Our musical department and students are working very hard to get ready for the Grand Island High School musical, The Wizard of Oz. The musical will premiere on Thursday, February 3rd and Friday, February 4th at 7 p.m. in the Grand Viking Theater. Mrs. Boutte has organized a way to support the musical by asking volunteers to submit a patron ad. Volunteers can purchase an advertisement to be displayed in the musical's program. Those who purchase a full page advertisement will receive 2 complimentary tickets to watch the musical. The Venture Yearbook Club will hold its second annual yearbook sale on Wednesday, January 19th through Friday, January 21st. The Yearbook Club will also support the life-changing mission of the Make-A-Wish Foundation to help local children battling chronic illnesses. The club is selling Cadillac chocolate along with other various items to support Make-A-Wish. Our next Parent-Teacher-Student Alliance meeting will be tomorrow, Tuesday, January 11th at 6:30 p.m. in the high school library. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to correspondence, recognition, and good news. And we have a teacher that's earned national board certification. Did you want to come forward with that, correct?
Actually, Mary, can you come up to the podium? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mary Howard. She just achieved the National Board Certification, which is an arduous process and professional journey. And Mary, I thought it'd be best, to hear it from you and maybe enlighten us a little bit as to why you chose this journey and some of the benefits of being nationally board certified.
Sure, absolutely. The process can take up to 5 years to become a national board certified teacher, and through the process you develop 4 portfolios of information about yourself. You have to record yourself teaching 2 different lessons in 2 different content areas. You have to prove that you're an effective and reflective practitioner. You have to talk about how you can use data to drive your instruction and how you use that data to modify the instruction you do in the classroom. And unquestionably, the journey is one of self-reflection. It is absolutely one that lets you, look at your teaching practice and look at what you do with your pedagogy and modify it and change it and grow from what you learn about yourself. And the path isn't easy, and my path wasn't easy. I didn't make it all the way through on the first try. I had a failure or a rejection and had to try it again. And but in the end, the journey is worth the reward. So it was a really great process, and I'm glad I was able to do it.
Mary, can I ask, are you a middle level generalist then?
Middle level generalist, yeah,
Okay.
that's correct, yes. And there are several different levels in different areas that you can focus on, but it fits since I teach 6th grade. So it fits
Yeah, so there's different certificates that you can earn. So if you are, say, special ed teacher, you might earn an exceptional needs certificate. If you're a middle school teacher, middle level generalist, they have them in certain specific subject areas for high school teachers. They have some in guidance counseling now, all different areas for school personnel. And it really isn't designed to do it in 1 year. It's really designed to learn from, it's designed for teacher growth and reflection, so learning over a number of years, and it is quite a bit of work. And I know it says here that there's 2,179 teachers in New York State that are nationally board certified, but just to put that into perspective, we have about 300,000, I would say, teachers in New York State, so that's actually quite a low percentage of teachers that have earned this distinction. And it is a very rigorous process, so congratulations.
Thank
you.
you.
Dr. Graham, did you want to say?
I do. First, let's congratulate Mary. That's awesome. And I do know one other person who is nationally board certified right here, Dr. Ashley Dreher. Let's also recognize her. And it would be awesome if we can get a group picture in front of the board table with our board and yourself.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think in front would be great. Alice can grab a picture maybe.
Won't you stand up here? You're one of those. I wouldn't look that hard.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Beautiful, thank you.
So our next piece of good news this evening, we have Peter J. Marston III here. He is nationally ranked in drag racing and 11 final round appearances. Just to give a little bit of stats, I don't know a lot about drag racing, but I have some information here. He had 9 wins. He was the 2021 not only the Lancaster Dragway champion, but also the Empire Dragway track champion. And I don't think that has, and it says no one has ever won both of those track championships concurrently in any division. So he's the only one to have done that. There's only 2 IHRA sanctioned tracks in New York State. Peter won both, making him #1 in the state for IHRA junior drivers. He won a gambler's race in West Salem, Ohio, against 60 or more of the top junior drivers from New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. He traveled to and competed in the World Finals in Memphis, Tennessee, and was selected as #9 on the Drag Champ Top 10 list for all junior drivers in all divisions across the country in the 13 to 15-year-old age bracket, which is what brings him here this evening, is to celebrate that accomplishment. That's quite an achievement. And best of all, Peter still has 3 to 4 years that he qualifies to drive in the junior dragsters before he moves to full-size race cars. So most junior drivers don't enjoy that level of success in an 8-year career, let alone in 1 year, and he has a number of years left before he moves on to his full-size race cars. So we'd like to bring Peter up and recognize him for this accomplishment. Congratulations.
PJ, could you go to the podium real quick?
Why don't you come up with him too?
That'd be nice. And Peter Senior's here. PJ, if you could just share with the board and our community how this has become a passion of yours, and would you encourage others in Grand Island or, to follow in your footsteps?
started with my dad. I used to go out with him when I was little. He used to race his little sled, so I used to come out with him. And then we went out and we watched the juniors one night, and then I told him we had to have one right there. That's how it became, and then we just started doing it, and then it became more and more of a thing. And then, yeah.
PJ, looking ahead to the next season, what do you hope to accomplish?
Hopefully I do the same thing again. It was pretty fun this year, and it's going to be hard to do again, so we just want to do the same thing we did this year.
Now, I know there's been a lot of people that have supported you along the way. I don't know if there's any sponsors, either you or your dad want to mention, that have been particularly helpful in helping you achieve your goals. I know that I've seen your race car. It's pretty impressive. It also looks like it entails quite a bit in terms of maintenance and just getting everything ready and travel and everything involved. So I don't know if there's anyone in particular that you want to mention or thank or give a shout out to in the community that's been helpful, but I know that it certainly has taken a lot to get where you've been able to achieve this level of success in this sport.
My parents, obviously, my dad and my mom, and then all our sponsors. You want to name all them? Got the staff.
You got it, go ahead. Here's the car.
Set Transportation, Pinto, Island Pet Lodge, Joe Dens, Jansen Racing Engines.
A lot of different community organizations that have supported you, Grand Island community members, so thank you to everyone that's supported, you along the way, and we're very proud of you. We're very proud of, there's been a lot of students that we've had over the years that have, whether it's baton twirling or drag racing, or I think we had someone that was in boxing, but this is quite an achievement, and we're so proud of you going out there representing us well. I know your parents must be very proud, but we are also proud of you as the Grand Island community and being on that national stage and representing, your hometown means a lot to all of us. So thank you very much and congratulations.
It's pretty awesome. Let's get a group picture again, please.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Smile with your eyes. One more. Great, thank you. Thank you.
If you don't see it, just reach out. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the public comment session, agenda items only. We don't have any sign-ups for items that are already on the agenda. So that brings us to curriculum and instruction now. Mr. Gloria.
Thank you. I just have one item for action and 2 informational items. Last year, we actually approved a new course for the high school in astronomy, and this year, our high school principal and our science department worked with Erie Community College and their advanced studies program to look at the curriculum for the astronomy course and adjust it for next year so that astronomy will shift from a half-year course to a full-year course, and they're going to supplement the curriculum to meet the ECC standards. So I'm asking for the board to take action and approve the modified version of astronomy for the coming school year.
Okay, motion for item A, please.
I'll motion.
And a second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0.
And the two other items are just informational, as I said. So the second item, B, is the December, actually I should say December monthly curriculum instruction and professional development report. And then you also have a copy of the 2022 to 2023 course catalog for our high school.
Any major changes to it, or is it very similar to what we've done?
The course catalog's pretty similar. You did approve a couple new courses last board meeting, and then this one, so those are some changes that will be made, but pretty much it's gonna be, just what you're used to.
Okay. Great, thank you. That brings us to personnel instructional. If I could have a motion to approve PI 1 through PI 4, please.
I'll motion.
Move the second. All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0. If I could have a motion to approve PNI 1 through PNI 3 for personnel non-instructional with the removal of PNI 2, H, and I.
I'll motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0.
Just gonna look into the audience here. Do we have any introductions tonight? Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Broker.
Like to introduce the board to Alex Keller. Stand up. So Mr. Keller here is a recent graduate of Buffalo State. He is going to be taking over our .6 English, .4 EAS position. And we're really excited. He came very highly recommended from the program, and we're very happy that he decided to come here, and we're really excited to have him on our team.
Okay, any other introductions? Okay, that brings us to finance with Dr. Harris.
Okay, I have, I'm gonna make sure I know how many I have. I have two items on here which are action items. The first one being buildings and grounds obsolete equipment, and the second being the facility usage schedule of fees. I did put it on here as action, but if there are questions or it needs to be tabled, I'm fine with that as well.
All right.
You know, I just have one question, because I know we put the schedule together before. Who monitors, do we have one person that will schedule, and who's in charge of collecting the fees?
So the way scheduling is currently working is, the scheduling is done by Lisa, which is, she is a dual person, she's in two positions, or two areas. No, Lisa O'Leary.
Oh, yeah.
So she does the scheduling, she works with the athletics department directly to make sure there's not conflicts in games or practices, and then we'll make the approval component. Her and Patty Stoffel work collectively to make sure there is a certificate for insurance on file, so they're following all practices. And then upon completion, so we have checked with buildings and grounds on who was used, what were really the hours, then the bill was sent out. And so that collection will all work within that department. They're just waiting to know if the schedule is good to go. We will do a notification period, so it won't be, if the board was to approve this tonight, it wouldn't be tomorrow. We're sending out bills. It would be a process of notifying all the people that have used the facility, setting a hard date of this is when it's gonna start, and then that would be the practice moving forward.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? If I could have a motion for A and B, please.
I'll motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, great. The next items are for informational purposes. Item C, or subject C, is budget transfers under 15,000, and the only transfer we had on the list was in the area of capital, which you won't be seeing any transfers for capital. After this, the next area is just a short update in reference to the $24 million project. I have Young and Wright and campus are working to give a final update as they have done in the past with some pictures just really showing you everything that has occurred. I know we've done pictures in the past, but I just kind of want to accumulate that to provide to you. So the hope is that'll be at the next board meeting. It is good to know that we did not spend every single dollar possible. There are requirements in reference to capital funds that are unspent though. Those will have to go into a debt service fund to offset what the future capital components are. That could be to offset the current debt that we're taking on. It could be used in the future in other capital. So I'm working with our financial advisors just to make sure that's done properly for when the auditors come in. And then the last item that I have on here for informational is just a little bit of information or a breakdown of the grant fund usage. Just so you are aware, I'm gonna just say it the way it is. So GER 2 and ASSER 2 have both been approved by the state. American Rescue, I'm still waiting for a district to tell me they've gotten approved, but we are working closely with the state to iron out any questions they have there. But this is just a little bit of a dive into what those expenses look like. It's a lot of funds and I just want to make sure the board is kept aware. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Harris? Okay. Great, moving on to special education, people personnel services, Cheryl Cardone.
I have 2 action items, and then I just wanted to say something informational. So I have the CPSC and the CSD program recommendations. If I could have action on those, please, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Second? All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 7-0.
So the information piece is that we have a couple of changeovers in special ed. Cheryl Friday is retiring this Friday, so if you do see her, wish her congratulations. Jude, she's been with Grand Island for what, 20 some odd years? Yep, so, and Natalie Stanzik from Youth will be taking Cheryl's position. So I just wanted to say if you see Cheryl between now and Friday, I know she's quite torn. Leaving after all this time, but congratulations to her and for all of her new beginnings. So, thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the superintendent's report with Dr. Graham.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully you all had a wonderful holiday and are looking forward to this next semester of school. With respect to COVID updates or any updates for our board, you can see by this chart, I've been showing this chart to you almost every board meeting. You can see that this arrow represents September of last year, not this September. And you can see how this represents the week-to-week net changes on all of Grand Island with respect to COVID. And this portion right here of this graph is the most recent spike due to the newest variant. So this chart shows the week-to-week net change. There was an increase of positive cases on all of Grand Island by 303, and that was between December 25th and January 1st. This data will be updated soon, so the chart will look a little different the next time we're together. But just for our board to understand, the week of December 25th, there were 3,549 citizens on Grand Island who had tested positive since March of 2020. And as of January 7th, the number is 3,630. So certainly some changes with respect to individuals becoming positive. This chart represents the students and employees who have been positive since September. You can see that there were 22 positive students in September, 37 in October, 108 in November, and 57 in December. You can see that in November there were 263 others who needed to quarantine. We had 11 positive employees and 8 others who had to quarantine. So the total number from September to the end of December, the district has seen 260 total positive cases and 670 who needed to quarantine. Looking ahead to just these 5 days, we're already up to 65 students as of January 7th who've been positive since January 3rd, 41 others who needed to quarantine, 14 positive employees, and 8 others who needed to quarantine. So just in 5 days, we have a number of 79 positive cases, students and employees, and 49 others who have had to quarantine. So if you just look again back to September or even in December, our numbers really declined, but in 5 days, this is where we are right now. Does anybody have questions about the last 5 days? Okay. This is just a chart, it comes from the Erie County Department of Health's website. Just shows since March of 2020 to January 1st, the number of cases by age group, ages 0 to 4, ages 5 to 9, and so forth. And this is from December 25th to January 1st, 13,450 cases just in this week in Erie County. There was a net change of 8,322 more cases from the previous week. And then this is broken down. For whatever reason, they don't show 0 to 4 and 5 to 9 on this chart. So instead they show you ages 0 to 9 and then 10 to 19. So in Erie County you can see just in a week's time, a lot of new cases of individuals, even in this age group, becoming positive with COVID. This is an update from the week of January 5th. You know what? Just let me do this real quick. Oh, I know. Goodness, I just updated this before I came in here, so I won't be able to show that to you because I downloaded it as a PowerPoint. But basically, you can see that on January 5th, there were almost 4,000 new cases just on this single day, and that there were 17,000 cases over the last 7 days, ending on January 5th. I do have an update. I'll show it to you next time we're together, but it's certainly prevalent in Erie County. As you know, too, I keep track of the individuals in Erie County who fall between the ages of birth to 9 and 10 to 19. So this is from the beginning of the school year for all of the students in that age group in Erie County, and this is the most recent increase of that age group. So the one line, I am colorblind, Cheryl. So this line I think is the older age group, and this line is the younger age group. Yeah. And again, you've seen this, I'm sure, in the news, that this is as of January 5th, the number of individuals positive in hospitals around Erie County were as high as 421. And then this is just a snapshot of hospitalizations from March of 2020 to January 5th in all of New York State. This represents the percent of not vaccinated and the percent of vaccinated hospitalizations as of just this date alone. So 55% not vaccinated, 45% vaccinated, and this is the percentage on January 5th for individuals in the ICU, 67% not vaccinated and 33% vaccinated. We also keep track of how Grand Island is doing by age groups for vaccination. 87% of Grand Island residents ages 20 years and up have at least one dose of the vaccine. And then the age group of 0 to 19 is at 45% for Grand Island. And this is data as of January 1st. So our board and our community should be well aware now that on November 8th, the Board of Education decided to support and encourage our local health department to move forward with a test to stay strategy. As everybody is aware, our district has been piloting that since December 6th. The strategy is significant for individuals. It gives parents another choice, another option to come to school as opposed to being home during a quarantine. So this has been pretty positive. This data is as of December 6th. December 6th through actually January 10th. We've administered 296 tests, and there have been 293 negative tests, or 3 positive. And this equates to 1,758 instructional hours that students had access to as opposed to being home and needing to quarantine. So it's pretty significant data. And you're probably aware that actually on January 7th, last week Friday, the Erie County Department of Health met with all public, private, and parochial schools to announce that the New York State Department of Health and the Erie County Department of Health now supports Test to Stay. They outlined specific requirements for Test to Stay to occur in all schools across Erie County. And there's also been some new information. The picture is blocking that information, but there's new information that they shared with respect to quarantining. Cheryl, I'm going to ask you just to kind of just make sure I say everything correct about the new information, but basically quarantined and isolated individuals are doing that for 5 days and then they can return.
As long as they don't have these symptoms, or their symptoms are resolving if they were positive.
Right. Does anybody have any questions about that change? So for individuals doing a Test to Stay program, the other significant change is that students in Test to Stay don't have to test every day. So during that 5-day period, they'll test minimally twice, probably the first day and definitely on the 5th day. Any questions about that?
Any progress on or new information on the extracurriculars? I know the state maybe came down and said no.
Yes, so the requirements and the mandate from New York State Department of Health prohibits any schools, private, public, or parochial schools, to have children in the Test to Stay program extend their day into extracurricular activities. So right now, according to New York State Department of Health, Test to Stay is only for the academic hours that students are in school. So it's very disappointing. We're excited that we're moving in this direction, and that's going to be the next focus of advocacy from superintendents, at least here in Erie County.
Could we put together some kind of a resolution again? I mean, would it be something that you would be willing to take a look at, Jay? I don't know if I put that together like we did for the Test to Stay to include the extracurriculars and maybe advocate for that in New York State. I think that would be the next kind of logical step to take to...
I guess I'm just most interested in the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I'm all for advocating for it, but we don't even have our base Test to Stay program in place yet. I mean, it's still kind of a work in process and they're still rolling it out. I'd like to see our superintendents, they did a great job with the Test to Stay. I would be more apt to hold our resolution to see what they can. They've been very effective. They have the ear now. So at this point, I am not. I'm in support of extracurricular activities. I am just not in support of a resolution at this time because we don't even know where it's at this point. And that's just me, one of 7. I'm just not interested at this point.
Well, I mean, if anyone else is interested in anything like that, I'm definitely interested in a resolution while we have the attention on Test to Stay, because I think that it should include, I do think it should include extracurricular activities, which I hear you're not opposed to that. And I just think while we're up and running and getting Test to Stay programs in place, districts should be thinking about including extracurricular activities. And I think that letting the state know that we feel this is a consideration that should be made is important. That's just my opinion. So I'm willing to put something together. I just want to put it out there. So if anyone else is, interested in that, just let me know. Or if, as it moves along with the Test to Stay program, if anything changes, let me know, because I'm definitely willing to put another resolution together for the board to take a look at.
So just to wrap things up on a positive note, our schools are still doing amazing work with our students. This is a photo of our students in the Academy of Finance on a field trip to see Hamilton before they had to shut down because of COVID. So that was a really outstanding opportunity for our students. Does anybody recognize this person? We had a few Santas in our school district helping our students. One of our elves, Mrs. Antonelli, and Santa helping out at the middle school. As our board knows, it's a tradition for our band and choir to carol and sing and play as kids arrive to school on the last day before break, and that was continued here. And there was a big middle school assembly where Santa made an appearance as well. This is a picture from Kegabyne and their winter holiday program that they had, and some art as well as concerts from both Kegabyne and Youth, and some other additional festive concerts in school on the last day of school. This is Larry Austin, and he's showing off a wonderful pillow that he received as a gift. And really exciting news for our musical students. Christopher Rice Thompson, who was in the, he was a swing actor in the Buffalo production of Hamilton. He came and did a workshop for 2 hours with our students on acting, and it was really, I sat in for some of that, and he did an excellent job. And I just want to show, the board, students are still participating in sports and extracurricular activities. This is Rebecca Schultz in the long jump. This is really a spectacular photo of her and showing the great form that she has in indoor track. And of course we have basketball. One of our students signed to play with Stony Brook for football. That was pretty exciting, so we're very proud of Action Jackson. And a lot of our seniors helped distribute COVID-19 tests. This was Saturday night, New Year's Day, and it was freezing rain, as you could see in some of these pictures, and our volunteers were amazing. They did a great job. And between Saturday and Sunday, everybody was back helping on Sunday morning. There were 1,500 rapid antigen tests just distributed on those 2 days alone. And this Saturday we had another group of seniors and students who are getting volunteer hours through participation in government, who helped distribute N95 masks to interested families. As you know, the N95 mask is not mandated or required by us or the state, and it's just another option for families as they consider various risk mitigation for them personally. So we really want to thank them. And Deb Longo also volunteered with her daughter, one of our wonderful SRP staff members here in district office, and she was also a big help on Saturday. Oh, and I think they're here, Deb and Melanie, right? Thank you, very nice job. Well done. And I was at Kegabyne and just walking around, and this is a photo that's not staged of elementary students climbing those ropes and they were having so much fun. Felicia, you must be really proud of your students and your phys ed teachers. I was struck in awe to see their strength and skill. So nice job there. And the musical is coming up so fast, and I know we had one of our student ambassadors today talk about it, but if you go to showticksforyou.com, you can get your tickets online. Our cast is absolutely outstanding, and I think, Mr. Bobek, you might know one of the cast members. She's a witch. So thank you very much. Looking forward to that. Any questions from the board?
I just have a couple comments. I heard a lot of positive feedback from the community on how smooth the distribution of the tests went. So thank you, and to everybody that participated and made it seamless for all that did pick up the test. I like to hear that we distributed 1,500. It's amazing, and I know it did help keep some of the kids home coming back after Christmas break, so we caught a few so they can come in and spread it to anybody else, or family members, or community members, so kudos to that. That was fantastic. And I also want to speak to the N95 masks. I know we distributed them. I received many telephone calls in regards to them and their effectiveness and what they cause. I am very happy that that we distributed them to the families that feel that they are needed or do not have masks. And thank you for commenting that it is not a, what's the word I'm looking for? Requirement here at Grand Island High School or in our school district, because I know there was a lot of misconception about that. We were a distribution site only, correct?
That is correct.
All right, yep, great job.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
great job with the distribution for everyone, and thank you so much for helping with distributing the masks and the tests. And I'm so glad that Dr. Graham, you were able to get those out before we came back from the break. So thank you for doing that on a holiday weekend, and just all your efforts are greatly appreciated by the board and the community. So thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
So any other questions, comments? Okay, that brings us to the Board of Education report. With Sue, with your GISBA liaison report, did you have anything to add, or just look at the attached?
It is now January, so I'm going to start plugging the golf tournament. July 18th? Yes. So get your golf clubs, get ready. It's for it's actually for a great cause, and it does raise quite a bit of money. And
hopefully it won't rain.
Yes, and we provide scholarships to our students, and we also assist with some of the other programs that are being added or are here at Grand Island High School. So it is a great cause. The money raised does go back to our students here at Grand Island, so I think everybody should go.
Yes. Thank you. All right, and that brings us to our school bus seatbelt discussion. I did hear Dr. Harris say that we did not spend every single dollar in the capital project. So I don't know if we have seatbelts on the buses, but one of the questions I had was, do we need seatbelts on the bus? Do we need seatbelts on buses, or do we already have them? Would that be a cost? And I'm just.
Buses come with seatbelts now, right?
Yep. So Teresa Elise is unfortunately unable to come, and she definitely wants to come to another meeting to help answer questions. Ruby may or may not know, but we definitely have lap belts, right? They're not the traditional, over-the-shoulder belt.
She was unable to come. She did have and I can only briefly talk about what she mentioned. Sorry. She did say there are lap belts on the bus. She did reference the concern in reference to, not opposed to seatbelts, but just things you have to take into consideration is when we circulate our buses, right? We own them, we circulate them. So you have high school students that start the day out and whatever they adjust those to. And then you have the little kids, right? So a belt that is going to be fitted and comfortable for a older student is not the same for younger kids. So she referenced some concern in reference to having an additional person on the bus because they would need help, just making sure it was tightened. But there are lap belts. She is doing some research into the cost of seat belts because a lot of the buses are not just allowing you to pull one belt off, put another one on, so it may even be purchasing new buses that fit what we may be looking into. So that then gets hefty, right? You might be looking from something that may cost you $10,000 or $15,000 for a bus to an actual brand new bus. But I don't know a lot. That's just what I remember her saying to me in a brief conversation on Friday.
So my thought is, I wonder if we can revisit this and Teresa can come before the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great
Yep.
idea.
Yeah, one of the questions I would have too when it's revisited are with the lap belts, and Dr. Harris, I don't know if you know this, can they wear the lap belts that we currently have? Does it have to be the fall, like, would that be?
My assumption would be if the lap belt is on the bus, that they could put that on. It also could be the number of students in a seat. So those are things that Teresa would be able to answer far better. And she is, I do want you guys to know, she is fully prepared. She was very upset that she could not make this discussion. She was texting over the weekend about it as well. So
Okay.
we can just.
We will add this to our,
We'll give
next
her
agenda.
an
We'll, yeah,
Oh,
we'll
yes.
definitely have her come in
She'll
to
come with lots
talk
of
to us.
details.
So start thinking about your questions now, and then we'll revisit this at another meeting. Thank you. All right, that brings us to public comment sessions, journal items not included in this agenda. We do have a few people signed up for this. At this time, public comments are invited from those individuals who desire to address the Board of Education on any topic. Residents who have previously signed up to speak will be recognized by the president. When speaking, please identify yourself first. Speak clearly and loudly enough for everyone in the audience to hear you. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to no more than 3 minutes. To appoint a spokesperson if a concern is a group concern, and if necessary or desired to supplement verbal presentations with written reports. Personal comments toward a member of the community, staff, or Board of Education will not be considered appropriate. At this time, I'd like to invite Jennifer Merica up to speak, please.
Good evening. I fully support this resolution that Ashley proposed. It's the only logical thing to do. Going on year 3, you would think that 2020 would be the year of the past, but in reality in New York, it is our present nightmare. In the beginning of the school year, Dr. Graham had informed me that he would challenge the state if they were going to impose mask mandates on our children, but has failed to do so. You are enabling mask wearing and N95 wearing when they're not even for pediatric use. They must be tested for fitting properly and for tolerance. They're placing harm on our kids. And we will prove that. It's already been proven that cloth masks and surgical masks don't work, but we're masking them anyways because they say, well, masking is better than no mask, I guess, even though it's proven that it doesn't work clearly. How many cases do we have when we have a mask mandate in Erie County and all of New York State? Clearly, the masks don't work. Our kids aren't dying. They're having minimal reactions. Yes, some have complications, but reality is that this is a common cold for our children. I have friends in Florida and Texas that are just stunned that we are still enforcing masks. It's like a whole nother world out there. My friend just visited her hometown in Switzerland, which is a country much stricter than US. However, they have never once masked their children under age 12 because they know of the adverse effects that they can have on their health and their development. Is getting money from the state really more important than our children's well-being? Kathy Hochul is attempting to make masking for our children a permanent law because we have individuals who continue to comply and just continue to mask our children. Look up index number 908134-21, where you'll see the proposal made to make masking a permanent law for our children. Do you want our children masked forever?
30 seconds.
The CDC is constantly changing their guidelines to fit their convenience, not because of science. How is that a vaccinated healthcare worker can treat patients while having active COVID, but an unvaccinated healthcare worker without active COVID cannot treat patients? We need to follow the science, not just the convenience. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Justin.
Justin Schoen, 35 Humlock, Grand Island. Dr. Graham, if yeah, the fear-fighting case updates every couple of weeks are great. I think more importantly, it would be great to get Grand Island children that have been hospitalized over the year throughout this entire time. Like, how many Grand Island students are hospitalized? There's no HIPAA going to be broken there because nobody needs names or anything. And if any of those Grand Island kids have been hospitalized, do they have underlying factors? Or are they healthy kids? Like, that information is a billion times more important than fear cases. Because a case is garbage. Nobody cares about a case. You care about kids being healthy, kids being not in the hospital, and kids not dying. So let's see those numbers, okay? Test to stay, I guess that's great. It proves that testing to stay is useless completely. 3 kids out of 300, basically like, what, 1% of kids? Like, no, the contact tracing is useless. Like, obviously, it's useless, that's proving it. Every time we test a kid, and they're not, 3 of them out of 300 have a case, probably not even sick, they have a case. Test to stay proves contact tracing is useless. Close contact stuff is garbage. I didn't want to be here today, never want to be here really, but every time I send my 5-year-old daughter onto the bus with her little ring of blackheads on her 5-year-old perfect little face, I got to come in here and, you know, make your lives as hell as our lives are at home. Sending our kids in with masks, like Jen said, I mean, everybody else. You stick a carbon monoxide detector in here in 30 seconds, it's unhealthy. It's going to start beeping. And I want to know if we can send kids in actually with detectors so that in class they can actually test their carbon monoxide in their mask, or oxygen detectors so that they can test the actual level of oxygen under their mask, if that would be okay by the district. Just for their safety, so that we know whether, so they know at all times, whether or not the air they're breathing is actually healthy, if there's too much carbon monoxide under their mask, or if there's enough oxygen to breathe under their mask. And last, I just, it's been frustrating, like, it just feels like, parents, it feels like enemies here, right? Like parents versus school board, at least a couple of us. And I hate that, but like, I want it to be known that everybody on this board has done a little bit of stuff maybe to fight for our kids, a little bit of stuff, and I understand that. But it is by no means anywhere near enough. It's nothing. Our kids are still masked. There's like, New York State has continually been the worst performer of all the states in this whole thing. And we keep doing what they're telling us. Like, they've proven at the top levels that they don't know what they're doing with this virus in New York State. Look at it, we're always bad, we're the worst.
10 seconds.
So anyway, I just want everybody on this board to know that you're branded with needles and masks on your foreheads, and you'll never be able to wash those off. And when you're running for every event coming forward, you'll always have those masks and needles branded on your forehead. They can't be covered up, they can't be washed off. The people that will be running against you will be pro-children, pro-children's health, pro-children's psychological health, and parents' choice. Thanks.
Okay, Colleen.
Should be my last name anymore. Well, Colleen.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. She knows me, you know, so. Colleen House, hello everyone. I want to talk a little bit different. I understand that people are excited and happy that we got the N95 masks out there, but I want to speak to it from a scientific standpoint. I'm very disturbed at Dr. Bernstein and the fact that she put out very wrong information. I have 27 years in the medical field and infection control and how to handle these types of things, and an N95 mask per the FDA is first of all a single use. It's not supposed to be reused, whether you look at it and see if it's dirty or wet. I mean, that's just, and that came straight from her mouth, and as the school board, you need to know these things, and I don't know how much information you have. So I want to educate all of you on this. We handed these things out, and N95 masks are not designed, again, per the FDA, not designed for children or people with facial hair. A proper fit cannot be achieved, and therefore it does not provide the protection that people think it's doing for them by giving it to them. These actual masks that we handed out, I looked up. And it states it's to provide respiratory protection against solids such as minerals, coal, iron, ore, flour, and certain other substances. It's not against what they're talking about. Airborne particles assembly, it's for assembly and mechanical, bagging, cleaning, dry chemical handling, foundry operations, grinding, petrochemicals, manufacturing, and sanding. And this is straight from the site of where these came from. And there was a warning on there. These respirators help reduce exposure to certain airborne contaminants. Before use, the wearer must read and understand the user instructions. There's no instructions provided as part of the packaging. In the US, a written respiratory protection program must be implemented, meeting all requirements of OSHA 1910.134, including training, fit testing, and medical evaluation. Now, when I ran a dental office after COVID first, everyone went back, we had to write that written respiratory protection program before I could hand these out to my employees. Our own Erie County Department of Health head is saying, oh yeah, go ahead, just give them to kids, give them to their families. I'm really concerned by this. We're giving people a Band-Aid, or we're telling them it's okay because they're scared. The numbers, like they talked about, we keep talking about who's sick, who's positive, as opposed to talking about those that have gotten better. Looking at it from a positive standpoint, it's flu season. We get sick. Are the numbers up? Absolutely. And how many times, going back 5 or 6 years ago, did your kids not come home and say, oh mom, half my class is out from a flu? And what happened? They went to school unless they were sick. We didn't walk around putting masks on. If you watch the news right now, they're finally talking about the mental health issues this is causing our children around the country. And you guys have heard me say this for the last year.
15 seconds.
I'm just concerned. The number of children hospitalized is no different right now than a typical year from a bad cases of pneumonia. New York State is known as the #1 least free state in the country. Thank you.
Next up is Sarah.
Sarah Sander. I am just here. I just showed up. I don't have any prepared comments except for what I just scribbled on my paper. I'm just showing up because I too am very, very frustrated over the masks that our children are being forced to wear in the schools. I want to thank the other parents who showed up and had facts and opinions that they had prepared to share on this topic. I don't enjoy public speaking, and this to me counts as public speaking. So I just wanted to say that it's very, very frustrating, and it's so much easier to just stay home and have a couple glasses of wine, okay? But here I am, and that's all I have. I didn't bring you any facts. I'm trying to keep this stupid mask on, but it keeps falling off my face. I don't know how our kids do this on a daily basis. I mean, I get it, you're all adults, you all go to work, and you're all wearing your masks and all of that. But to have our kids wearing these masks all day long, I mean, it's very difficult. I can't see your face. I'm sure that you have a beautiful smile, but I can't see it. I mean, I go in the grocery store, and what's the point, you know, of smiling at anyone? Because the only thing that they'll see if they look close enough is the extra wrinkles. So that's all I'm going to say. It's very frustrating, and the numbers are up, and the cases are up, and all of that stuff. It just seems to not be broken down in the more important terms of, okay, well, I had COVID, but it was like getting the flu versus someone else who had COVID and who was hospitalized or very seriously ill and needed to be in, you know, have services from medical professionals and whatnot. So it seems like there's a great big giant difference on that whole scale, and it's very frustrating. It just seems that the COVID numbers are up is such a thing, and we just don't have a reliable, and I'm not saying anything about what Dr. Graham presented, nothing there. I'm just saying overall, in general, the numbers are up and all of these things and the cases and the counts and all of that don't seem to be very informational in terms of degrees of severity of this disease. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, that brings us to Committee of the Whole, items and information for the roundtable, beginning with Glenn.
I got none. I'm all set,
Okay.
thank you.
Nicole. Jude. All right, Sue.
I have a question. It's kind of to Ruby and Dr. Graham. I want to go back to our presentation from Rick Timms at our last meeting, where we talked about our reserves and how we were going to work on building them up. I think there was some misconception of the funds we were going to use. Could you explain a little bit about the foundation aid that was spoken about, that was actually going to go into our reserves, and when they were held back and how long they've been holding them back?
I think that, I think the first thing to express is federal funds cannot be put in your reserve. There's different buckets of money. So I can't just take American Rescue or GER or SIR and say, hey, I'm just gonna flush reserves. So what Dr. Timms was expressing is foundation aid had an increase this current school year we're in, and it is going to increase, or it is projected to increase at a stable rate for the next 2 years. So his goal is to reduce general fund spending to allow funds to be put in reserves. He did, I do want to make sure this is transparent, he did express using federal funds to cover staffing components, right? Use the federal dollars to cover what they are allowed to cover, and using the freed up general funds to put into the reserve. And that is already something that's happening. We, as you will see on the spreadsheet as well, because we're in the 21-22 school year, so this was started before they were brought on. There are staff in the federal funds, or in the grants, in GER, SIR, and American Rescue, and they're carried that way. That is the way the actual grant applications went forward to the state. You can make adjustments. You cannot make more than a 10% adjustment in any area without informing the state. So they monitor that component as well. But it's two different buckets of money. Does the federal funds assist us to have general fund money to do that? Yes, but I can't just say $1 million, push it off to the side. That's not how it is allowed to work. And if we were to do that, the state would audit it and recoup their money. Does that help explain it?
Yep, and just how long have school districts been receiving foundation aid?
Oh,
forever?
Yeah, foundation aid dates back a long time. The actual formula is frozen at like a 2008 or 2012. 2012 is when they stopped the true allocation, and districts have really been fighting, so now it's been 10 years at least, to get what has been owed. And what is owed is, this is not the true number, because we were what, $1.8 million, $2 million short, and then you count how many years we've been shorted. So they're just catching us up to the number, they're not back paying at all.
I just wanted some clarification, because I think when we talked about aid and different things, that there was a misconception of what monies we were actually discussing.
And you'll hear that talked about far more, especially since budget season is coming up, on what the plans are for both areas. So that's very transparent.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Joy.
I'm all set, thank you.
Danielle.
I'm all set.
Mike.
I just want to briefly say that over the last 2 months, it's been nice to see a lot of our authentic learning experiences return. I know our DECA students competed. We hosted a regional event here. Field trips obviously have been back this year. Some of our students in the middle school are attending Tech Wars this week at Niagara County Community College. And then just this past weekend, I was able to attend our elementary and 6th grade all-county auditions, which was held at DePue High School. So being able to kind of see and know for our, you know, parents and our community members out here, that a lot of our students are getting back to some of those things that we've dearly missed over the last couple of years. It's good to see that competitive nature in our kids, especially at the auditions, and it's just good to see our teachers, and special shout out to Sarah Russo in the music department for all they did this past weekend, because I saw how hard they work with the kids to get them up to speed, so thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. All set tonight. Ruby.
I got a million things, just kidding. Next month I will have an external audit corrective action plan for you all. I knew it was January right now, but I didn't know that it was this close, so you will be seeing that. I'll send something a little in advance, but it'll be on the next board meeting for approval. I will also have the food service committee meeting minutes. Also, I don't know what's going on with my brain. And kudos to Dr. Graham. I think the last meeting when you talked about Testis Day, I had like are we the only district that's doing this? But I've actually gotten a couple calls from other districts just wanting to know how it's working. So kudos for that. And thank you to everybody that helped pass out anything and everything, because other districts were not able to make that before school started deadline. So you had people that were behind a little bit on the 8 ball, so just thank you to staff, teachers, all volunteers, because it seemed to go well. That's it.
Thanks, Dr. Graham.
Yep, just a couple of words. Just before Christmas, our students, faculty, and staff did an amazing job in supporting those in need in our community. From collecting toys and food items for families. Just really remarkable when you just take a minute to reflect on the caring attitude, the attitude of gratitude that our students have and how they support those in need here on the island. So a big thank you to all of those who did do that, and go Bills.
Yes, go Bills. January 31st, we have a joint meeting here in the professional development room at 7 p.m. And February 7th, we have another Board of Education meeting, and it's our first budget input session. With that, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn at 8:45 p.m. And a second? All in favor? Aye. Any objections? Nope. Have a good night, everybody.